speaking of using tools to murder people in an apartment complex, our following movie is the Toolbox Murders.
I mean, you can't see me, but I'm shaking my head right now.
I believe you. It's the Toolbox Murders from 1978, and not to be confused with if anybody remembers the remake from 2004 by Toby Hooper. But the original 78 movie, in pretty much in which this guy in his key mask goes around killing people in an apartment complex. Then this one guy's sister disappears. He believes she's been kidnapped, so he and a friend sort of go looking for the kidnapped sister. And that's pretty much the movie. It's an interesting, I would say, mix. Like the first 25 minutes or so are almost inarguably pure slasher. Guy just comes in, murders a woman, murders another woman. I mean, it's like 3 straight murders in a single, like 20-minute fashion. And they all decently, if not explicitly gory, they all look painful. And then the movie changes course a bit into more like a hey, let's go find my sister, and sort of like an investigation type thing. And it might get a little boring around that time. And it is a 70s movie, so it always has the chance to come across as maybe a bit dry, a bit clinical. And then once we find out the individual behind these things, and he has his own type of monologues going on. It's interesting, but I can imagine people being, after watching the first 20 minutes, being disappointed by the way this movie goes.
Yeah, we didn't even really have to wait to see who the killer was.
Well,
As
yeah.
soon as that person came onto the screen, I knew who it was.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about being a somewhat big actor. Because I've seen Cameron Mitchell in plenty of other movies around that time period. So I saw who it was first off.
To be honest, I'm not even that familiar with the actor, though I'm sure I've seen him in other things, but I could just tell from certain close-up scenes where they zoom in on the guy in the mask, I can see by the eyes, or around the eyes, what this guy's face is kind of like. And so as soon as I see him without the mask, I know, I'm like, hey, that's him.
Yeah, so even if the guy committing the crimes doesn't come out as much as of a surprise, they do try to throw in, I guess, I'm not sure if you want to call it a twist, but maybe a little surprise toward the end revolving his family. So at least they have that going for it. But out of interest, I'm sort of curious, is this a movie that you've had a lot of experience with?
Not really. I did. I don't even think I watched it in full before. I'd certainly started watching it at some point, and I don't know, I might have got distracted or had to stop to do something else. But so this is the first time I've watched it completely in full. I had an okay time with it. Like I said, the earlier scenes, there's a lot of kills and a lot of things going on there. But yeah, as the movie goes along, I don't necessarily think that the turns they were making throughout the movie were the directions I would have liked to see the movie go in. But with that being said, it's still, that was still fine. I didn't have a major issue with it. It just wasn't ideal.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of When a Stranger Calls, because that one had a fantastic beginning, and then like for the next hour it's like almost procedural investigation. I have a feeling that wasn't an uncommon route for 70s movies like this to take.
At times the editing in this movie was just a little weird. Like the one scene where the woman's masturbating in the tub, and it's like someone just started rapid pressing the button to change camera angles. To me, it just didn't make sense. But so I don't know what they were going for there.
Although I have to say, I don't know if it was in that exact scene, but one of the things I liked in this movie, there was it's like an old style, I guess you could say it's a country duet song. I think sang by some guy who's making music for the movie, a guy named George Deaton. But it had a song named, I think it was Pretty Lady, and they pretty much played the whole song like during the scene where he's chasing the woman with, I think it's a nail gun. And I always liked the sort of calming, soothing music while on screen you see all this carnage. It always brings back good memories.
Hmm. Well, to all the ladies out there, you don't have to worry about me when I've got a toolbox, because the only thing in my toolbox is a tape measure. And that's to measure things.
I feel like if you've been working on that line for 2 weeks, you have some issues. If it makes any women feel bad, I don't have a toolbox because I don't do that type of stuff.
Yes.
So, once we find out who's committing these crimes, we find out a big reason for this. Well, obviously the guy's insane, but it's that special type of insanity I like to call religion. Guy's like a nutcase. His whole thing is he's trying to kill these women, basically because their dirty sin is using sex and drugs and stuff, and he just wants to take care of all the sinners. And then he runs into a girl who reminds him of his daughter, who happens to be deceased. So of course this guy's insane, thinks it's his daughter, and then he starts talking to the girl like, hey, what was heaven like? And I'll give her credit, she came up with plausible, it's like purple and stuff. So I mean, I give her credit. But one thing that I actually enjoy about this movie is the performance of the religious maniac guy. I mean, obviously he's complete batshit insane, but he clearly believes everything he's talking about. And the opening scene where he is listening to like this religious sermon on the radio, there's a Baptist, pretty much brim and hellfire type sermon that isn't uncommon in this country. It just if somebody takes the type of thing to heart, like take thine eye from thy neighbor, that can easily cause some problems. If somebody's religiously intolerant toward more, I guess you could say, free lifestyles, less oppressed lifestyles. So I don't think that's the main point of this movie, but I appreciate pretty much the main reason the guy's killing people is, hey, he's a religious maniac. So A+.
Is that your rating? A+?
Not quite. But I guess we can talk about that. So I've seen this movie I think only once before, and I watched it again. It was actually the first movie I watched this month. And despite some tonal issues, I like Jackie says, once they sort of change tracks of where they're going, it's not really as good. I still think it's a pretty interesting movie. There's a character who like gets set on fire, and that scene, I wouldn't say it comes out of nowhere, but it's certainly a scene that you might not necessarily see coming. I don't know, it's a movie I certainly like. I enjoy it probably more than I should. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5, which is above average for me. And I had to think about this. I think I'm probably going to round that down to a 7 out of 10. But I do think it's marginally above average. So 7.5 to 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with a 6. 6 out of 10. Which is kind of amusing because this is the 5th movie that we've discussed today, and I've pretty much given everything a 6 out of 10. So you can imagine what my week has been like watching movies. Everything's just been nah. Like I said, with movies that I've only ever watched once, my rating's going to change over time. So whenever I watch this one again, who knows, might go up to a 7. I doubt it'll go lower, to be honest. I feel like it can only get better. So for anyone listening out there, I know, check back in with us. Give us 3 years. Maybe we'll talk about it again. And if not, wait another 3 years.
And if you are still listening to us in 8 years, we appreciate your commitment.
Yeah, give us money.